Hey, and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be going over card types in the game of Riftbound, the new League of Legends and Arcane trading card game. Starting with deck constraints. So your deck's going to consist of 1 legend card, 3 battlefield cards, 12 rune cards in any ratio you want, 40 card main deck consisting of units, spells, and gear, and an 8 card sideboard. Alright, so legend cards. You're allowed 1 per deck. As you can see, the legends correspond to legends from League of Legends, the original game that this is based off of. And so we'll dive a little bit deeper into what some of the symbols on these cards mean. So, specifically looking at Volibear. In the top left, you'll notice we have domains, and this is going to decide your unit and spell colors, as well as your rune deck colors. And like I said, you have a ratio, so you can choose for those 12 cards, whether you want 6 and 6, or if you want 4 and 8, or any way you want to do it. It's up to you, as long as they remain these 2 colors. Going down, we have card type. That's just going to tell you what kind of card this is, which is going to help you find how to use it. And then every card will have a rarity in the same area going forward. And at the end, I'll show what the rarity symbols are. You also have the name, and that's going to help determine a few things later on. For example, the chosen champion options you have for your deck. All right. So rune cards, currently there are 6 in the game. I sprinkled in 2 of the alternate art. Otherwise, they mostly have the black border, but these are the 6 runes that the cards will consist of. And then just to remind you, kind of the domain on the top left corresponds to a rune. So in this case, Fury and Body runes are what make up Volibear decks. So battlefields are going to be the objectives you're playing for in this game, and each player will have 3 in their deck. And most of the tournaments we've seen so far are best 2 out of 3. So for each game, you will pick a battlefield to play, and your opponent will play one, and that's how you'll get the 2 battlefields that you play for in a 1v1 match. And I believe as you play throughout the 2 out of 3 games, you cannot use the same battlefield. And so these are kind of turned sideways just so both players can read, and to make it a little bit easier and save some space. All right. So unit cards. This is what you're going to use to capture those battlefields and to fight for control or conquering of those battlefields. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into what these mean, but these are just what some look like. All right. So specifically, we're looking at Portal Herder here. So you'll notice the number in the top left. That's going to refer to your energy cost. If it's a number, even if it's on the card, there's a circle and a number, it will refer to energy cost, which is paid by exhausting runes or turning them sideways. The symbols below and symbols that are rainbow within the cards or are colored usually refer to a power cost, which involve recycling runes. And small tip, you can recycle exhausted runes, so you don't have to utilize an untapped rune and recycle that. And then going down, we have card type and class again. Sometimes these are called out with effects, like maybe if you have another Frey Lord, buff them, or all Frey Lords get buffed on your battlefields, kind of thing. So that's why that's there. And then below that, you're going to find the card effect for that card if they have one. And the top right, we're going to have might. This is going to be your combat strength and health of the card. And then you'll see the symbol sometimes like this card in the effect where it may get adjusted throughout gameplay. Below that, you'll notice that the name has a color to it. And so that is supposed to match your domain. It must match your domain. and that will be determined by your legend again. So you couldn't put this card in Volibear because he's red orange and this is green calm. So there's a special subclass called champion units. And one thing you might notice is that these two different champions, same Volibear, but different colors, correspond to the colors of the legend Volibear. So it's just the play style you want to play, but you can have 3 of each of these in your deck. And champion units are specifically used for your chosen champion. And I'll show you where that's placed here in a second. But at the start of the game, you get to pick one champion unit with the same name as your legend to be used as your chosen champion unit that you can play throughout the game, just like a normal champion, anytime uh, you normally would play a champion. Um, And so this is somewhat what a playfield looks like at a glance. And so on the top right, you'll see the chosen champion. In this case, we chose Red Volibear. And then our champion legend right next to it. So I can play that to the field as long as I have the runes to pay for it at any time. And when it dies, it just goes to the trash. So just something to start you off with throughout the game. And so you always have that option to play what your deck is based off of. Okay, next are gear cards. So nothing too special here. The same cost and power, energy and power costs play the same role with these cards. These stay on the field unless they say otherwise. And generally, they'll have either a trigger effect or a passive effect. In the case of these 3, we see that you need to tap. For the left one, Baited Hook, it requires 1 energy cost and 1 power cost as well as a tap to trigger the effect. But yeah, that's kind of how gear works. Nothing too crazy. Next, we have spell cards. So these are also going to be making up your main deck. And sorry, I didn't say that earlier, but gear units and spell cards are really what's going to make up your main deck, your 40 card main deck. And so these are kind of what they look like. They have costs. Sometimes they have power costs. Sometimes they only have energy cost. But something you'll notice kind of new here is action and reaction keywords in the effect boxes. And so let's look real quick. I pulled this from the core rules as of June 2nd, I believe it was. And so it kind of clarifies a little bit more, but basically spells can be played at the bare minimum in open states of the game, and you can look that up if you'd like. But basically, as nothing's going on your turn, and then these kind of add additional opportunities. For example, action allows you in an open state or in showdowns, whereas reaction allows you to play in open states as well as showdowns as well as any time. So it's just a kind of an adder of opportunity. And then you can look this up more if you have questions. And I'll be trying to do videos on interactions and how they play out according to consensus with other players and the rules. Now, there's a special subclass of not only spell cards necessarily. Thanks to Tibbers, we also got a signature unit. So these are called signature cards. And you'll notice they have the name kind of next to the tag signature spell. So they must coincide with the legend you chose for your deck. And you'll see that the power cost is a split color, just meaning you can pay either one of those colors to pay the power cost for this. You may only have 3 signature spells per deck, and right now we only have 1 signature spell per champion, so it's nothing too crazy. But maybe in the future we'll get other ones for the same legends, and we'll have to split it up, but it will still probably be maintained to 3. And then we're just breaking down a little bit here. The energy cost, the power cost, the name, which must match legend, as we said, and then the card type, just to indicate that it's a signature spell, which is going to help you decipher that you can only have 3 of these in your deck. And then just some additional cards that can be found in the game are going to include buff, recruit, and sprite. So really, tokens and buffs. And you don't necessarily need to use these, but they are found in packs and throughout the game. So if you see them, they will be double-sided, so they won't have any special backs, so you won't confuse them in your deck. But they're just indicators for gameplay for you. So thanks for watching, and if there's anything else you guys want to know about the game or any basics you want me to bring up, please let me know in the comments, and I will work to get you guys that information. Thanks.